The ancestral home of the Xiao family, a sprawling, exquisitely preserved manor steeped in generations of tradition, felt less like a house and more like a living, breathing entity. To Wang Yibo's resonance harmonizer, it hummed with ancient stories, a symphony of quiet memories and deeply rooted values that made his usual composed aura ripple with uncharacteristic anxiety. Xiao Zhan, sensing Yibo's apprehension through the subtle tremor in their empathic link, squeezed his hand reassuringly as they approached the polished, lacquered doors. This wasn't just a family visit, it was a pilgrimage, a test of his worthiness in the eyes of the two people who held Zhan's heart even before he did, his grandparents. Inside, the air was thick with the scent of aged wood and freshly brewed tea. Grandma Xiao, her eyes sharp but kind, and Grandpa Xiao, his face a roadmap of weathered wisdom, sat at a low, elegant table. Yibo's harmonizer immediately registered their intertwined auras, a formidable, unyielding fortress of love and protection for Zhan, tinged with a cautious, almost seismic skepticism towards him. It was a pressure so intense it threatened to deafen his echo syndrome. "Yibo," Grandma Xiao began, her voice soft but with an undertone of steel, "Zhan has told us much about you, and about your unique abilities." Her words, to Yibo's heightened senses, didn't just carry sound, they pulsed with invisible tendrils of ancient scrutiny, probing his very essence, looking for flaws, for anything that might threaten her grandson. Yibo's smile, usually so effortless, felt tight. He felt the weight of their unspoken questions, their subtle judgments, amplifying his deepest fears of not being good enough for Zhan. He felt a familiar, chilling void open within him, the instinct to retreat. Then, the first mind-blowing scene erupted, triggered by Grandpa Zhao's casual gesture. He reached for a treasured, ancient porcelain teacup, its delicate rim chipped, a hairline crack running down its side. "This cup," he mused, his gaze distant, "belonged to my grandmother. My only regret is that I can no longer hear the small, clear chime it used to make when tapped. Its resonance is broken." His words, to Yibo's echo syndrome, vibrated with a profound, unspoken sorrow for lost time, for fading memories, a universal lament for the ephemeral nature of life. Yibo looked at the cup, and through his echo syndrome, he didn't just see a crack, he saw a shimmering, discordant fracture in its energetic matrix, a broken song. Without a word, driven by an instinct beyond his conscious control, he reached out, his finger gently touching the delicate porcelain. He didn't use force, he used resonance. He focused his echo syndrome, not on imposing his will, but on listening to the cup's original, perfect frequency, then gently, subtly, aligning the fractured echoes within. The room held its breath. Then, a faint, almost imperceptible hum began to emanate from the teacup. It grew, pure and clear, a delicate crystalline chime that rose in pitch, then stabilized, resonating with a perfect, ethereal bell-like tone. The hairline crack on the cup didn't vanish physically, but it visibly shimmered with a soft, golden light, as if mended from within, its broken song restored to a perfect, harmonious melody that only those with perceptive senses could hear. The air around them filled with a profound, soothing peace. Grandma and Grandpa Xiao gasped, their stern expressions dissolving into stunned wonder, feeling the pure, benevolent resonance emanating from the cup. Grandma Xiao looked at Yibo, her eyes now devoid of scrutiny, replaced by a dawning awe. "The cup, it sings again," she whispered, her voice thick with emotion. "How did you?" Yibo merely offered a humble, genuine smile, his harmonizer now humming with a triumphant, joyful melody. He hadn't just fixed a cup, he had harmonized a memory, a lost piece of their family history. As the harmony from the teacup permeated the room, Zhan, witnessing the profound impact of Yibo's gentle power, felt his own boundless empathy surge. This was his chance. He reached for Yibo's hand, clasping it tightly, and then, he reached for his grandparents. He connected with their awe, their lingering skepticism, and with a powerful, deliberate act, he projected Yibo's true heart directly into their minds. The second mind-blowing scene unfolded, a spectacular display of empathetic truth. Grandma and Grandpa Xiao, still reeling from the teacup song, suddenly experienced a kaleidoscope of Yibo's deepest, purest emotions for Zhan. It wasn't a vision, but a visceral feeling. They felt the crushing weight of Yibo's fear when Zhan was in danger, the agonizing loneliness of his past struggles, the boundless joy of Zhan's laughter, the quiet, unwavering devotion that anchored his soul. They saw, not through their eyes, but through their hearts, holographic projections of Yibo silently supporting Zhan through crises, his hands gently tending to Zhan's projects, his eyes full of an unspoken, profound adoration. It was a direct, unfiltered glimpse into the very core of Yibo's love, a mind-blowing, empathic immersion that bypassed all logic and years of guarded skepticism. Grandpa Xiao staggered back slightly, his hand clutching his chest, his face etched with a mix of shock and overwhelming tenderness. Tears streamed down Grandma Zhao's cheeks, her formidable aura dissolving into pure, unadulterated love. They saw not just a celebrity, not just a man of immense power, but a soul as pure and devoted as their own grandson, someone who loved Zhan with an intensity that mirrored their own. Then, the climax, the moment that truly melted generations. Grandma Xiao, recovering her composure, looked at Yibo, her eyes brimming with love and acceptance. She reached out, placing her hand on his cheek. As she did, the ancient, ancestral home, imbued with their centuries of family energy, began to respond to their profound acceptance. The intricate, carved wooden beams in the ceiling pulsed with a warm, golden light. The faded, ancestral portraits on the walls didn't just glow. Their painted subjects, the Xiao family ancestors, shimmered, their eyes briefly opening, not in judgment, but in silent, benevolent approval, their collective spirits resonating with a new harmony in their lineage. From the very foundation of the house, a deep, resonant melody began to rise, not from any instrument, but from the ancient wood itself. It was a lost family lullaby, a song of comfort and belonging that Yibo's harmonizer had subtly detected in the house's deepest echoes. It pulsed through the air, enveloping them all in a profound embrace, a mind-blowing symphony of generations melting into one, celebrating a love that transcended time, tradition, and even the grave. Yibo, tears streaming down his face, felt an immense weight lift from his soul. He had not just been accepted. He had been welcomed, not just into a family, but into a lineage, a history, a tapestry of love spanning centuries. Zhan, his own heart overflowing, embraced his grandparents, then pulled Yibo into the hug, their combined love creating a powerful, unifying force that vibrated through the entire ancient home. The moment of Yibo meeting Xiao Zhan's grandparents was more than a family introduction. It was a profound, cosmic declaration, proving that true love, when genuine and unwavering, could melt the barriers of time, tradition, and even the silence of generations. The ancestral home, now a radiant beacon of their love, settled into a peaceful hum. The ancestral portraits on the walls, once silent judges, seemed to smile down at them. Wang Yibo and Xiao Zhan, their hands clasped, stood with the grandparents, a profound new layer of family forged in a single mind-blowing evening. The world, still buzzing with the memory of the celestial lotus and the cosmic ring, was beginning to find its own harmony, inspired by their public love and the peace it brought. But a new, unforeseen challenge emerged, not from external forces, but as an unintended consequence of their boundless love. The collective emotional energy of humanity, now self-healing, was growing exponentially. This raw, untamed love and forgiveness was so vast and pure it was starting to manifest physically, causing reality to become fluid and unstable. The lines between the physical world and the emotional landscape were blurring, threatening to turn the world into a beautiful but chaotic dreamscape. The first mind-blowing symptom was visible in every city across the globe. The resonant tapestry of cities, once a phenomenon only they could perceive, was now a visible, living aurora in the sky. As a wave of collective joy rippled through a neighborhood, the buildings around them didn't just light up, they began to shimmer with a beautiful golden light, the very structures pulsing with a profound sense of happiness. That same day, a quiet, widespread moment of collective sorrow caused the sky above a park to fill with shimmering, blue-tinged clouds that rained down not water, but a cleansing, soothing mist. Humanity was now a collective, emotional being, and its raw feelings were a part of the visible world. Yibo's harmonizer, once a precision tool, now vibrated with the overwhelming cacophony of billions of emotions, each a unique frequency he could not tune out. Zhan's empathy was a constant flood, an endless torrent of love and sorrow and joy that threatened to drown him. They had given humanity the tools to heal itself, but in doing so, they had unleashed a power so vast it had become a danger. The instability reached a critical point, leading to the second mind-blowing scene. The threads of fate they had rewoven to bring harmony to the world were unraveling under the pressure of this immense, untamed energy. The past, present, and future began to collide in a spectacular, quantum-temporal collapse. People began to experience quantum echoes of their ancestors' emotional breakthroughs. An old man, walking through a park, suddenly saw a ghost of his grandmother, an image of a moment when she had finally found the courage to pursue her dreams, and with that echo, the man felt a profound sense of closure that she had never had. The unsent letter, the temporal portal they had once used to bridge a past wound, began to reappear in different places, on a park bench, in a coffee shop window, a constant, subtle reminder of the collapsing timeline. This was the ultimate, reality-bending chaos. Yibo and Zhan knew what they had to do. They traveled to the opera house, the first place they had ever truly healed together. Standing on the stage, the ghost of their proposal hovering in the air, they looked out at the familiar empty seats. They knew their final task was not to create or heal, but to anchor. With their love as the conduit, they channeled their combined power, not to create a spectacle, but to absorb the wild, untamed emotional energy of the world. With a single quiet, mind-blowing act of profound self-sacrifice, they began to pull in the entire collective consciousness of humanity's love and forgiveness, re-establishing a stable boundary between reality and emotion. As they did, the luminous auroras in the sky began to fade, the shimmering cityscapes returned to normal, and the quantum echoes of the past dissolved like morning dew. Their cosmic power, their ability to create and heal on a grand scale, was not being amplified. It was being absorbed, willingly, into the silent, invisible force that keeps the world from unraveling. The world returned to normal, but it was changed forever. The physical manifestations were gone. The celestial aurora faded. The Garden of Light became a normal, beautiful garden. Yibo and Zhan were no longer silent inspirations or cosmic guardians. They were just two people, their powers now part of the world's subconscious, the silent, invisible force that keeps it from unraveling. Their greatest act was not to create, but to surrender their power, turning their love into the silent, eternal anchor for all of humanity. The world settled back into its comfortable rhythm, but it was changed. The celestial auras and shimmering cityscapes faded, and the quantum echoes of the past dissolved like morning dew. Wang Yibo and Xiao Zhan lived a quiet, ordinary life. Their powers, it seemed, were gone, absorbed into the world to keep it from unraveling. One evening, Yibo couldn't find his favorite hoodie. He searched everywhere, the familiar frustration building, but his echo syndrome, the tool that once found him in a world of noise, remained silent. He sighed, defeated, and went to the living room. "I can't find it," he said, the words heavy with a strange sense of loss. Zhan simply smiled. He looked at Yibo, then closed his eyes for a moment. His own empathy, once a torrent of the world's feelings, was now quiet. But he felt a single perfect thread of connection to Yibo, a silent, unwavering resonance of pure, quiet affection. He opened his eyes, reached out his hand, and pointed to the kitchen counter. "It's there," he said softly. Yibo walked over, and sure enough, it was. He hadn't seen it, but Zhan, through their intertwined souls, had. They looked at each other, and a quiet, beautiful truth dawned on them. Their powers hadn't vanished. They had simply been transmuted. They no longer created reality-bending spectacles, but they could perform small, everyday miracles. A flower in their garden bloomed out of season, its petals shimmering with a light that only they could perceive. A gentle rain would stop just as they stepped outside. Their love, the great anchor they had given the world, now manifested in small, private, and unbelievably beautiful ways, a constant, silent testament to the simple fact that their greatest power was not in the heavens, but in their shared, quiet life.